Hey there, Cardinal fans. It's the Cardinal Report on NCTV 17. I'm Kevin Jackman. Coming up on our show, Coach Jay Farrell and the men's lacrosse team joins me for a second time this season. And later, we get an update from Sports Information Director Clark Teuscher. We have all that and more next on the Cardinal Report.
The presenting sponsor for the Cardinal Report is Athletico, the preferred provider of physical therapy and athletic training for North Central College.
Welcome in, and Coach Jay Farrell is here. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
9-1 start. You guys are now 10-4. Coming in, did you see this? We talked a few weeks ago after the hot start, but I mean, inaugural season. This is impressive.
Yeah, we're really excited about where we are. Like we talked about a year ago, would I have thought we would have been in this position? Absolutely not. But you know, as we went through the recruiting process, we kind of saw the guys that were coming in, and you know, we had hoped we'd be in this exact position. You know, we feel we've won most, you know, all the games that we're supposed to win, and unfortunately, we've kind of lost and played competitive in the games that we have lost, and you know, we're right where we wanted to be.
So many young guys on this team, a lot of freshmen. You do have some sophomores, one eligibility-wise, but with all those young players, I can imagine that you've seen a lot of growth over the course of the year, right?
Absolutely. You know, from fall ball to even off-season training, coming into the beginning of the season, you know, guys grow physically. They're 17, 18, you know, now they're turning 19, 20. So physically, your body is going to naturally change. Plus, you know, a college workout program. You know, so we definitely see a change physically. But, you know, the biggest and most important part that we see is really like the mental aspect of the game. You know, they're learning to trust us as a coaching staff, which is huge. We have guys, you know, coming from all over the place with various coaching high school coaches and club coaches that have coached them before. So for them to all get on our page is always a big challenge with a young group. And, you know, our guys are at a point now where they trust us and they kind of just do what we ask them to do and go out and execute. And, you know, that's the reason kind of why we are where we are.
You've been through this before, first-year program. How have you seen this process play out before, and how does this kind of stack up to those prior experiences? Well,
every school and you know, startup is a little bit different. You know, and we're in a very fortunate spot. There's not very many first-year programs out in the country doing what we did this year. So we're extremely excited about that kind of where we are as a team. You know, and the biggest thing for us next year is to blend this first-year group who, you know, is used to having to play every single game, getting every single rep in practice, and bringing in a whole new group of, you know, 13 to 16 guys and kind of welcoming them in, because, you know, some of those guys are bought in to essentially take the spots of the guys that are here to bring competition up within the team. So it's you know, the blend of those two classes is always the most challenging thing. And if we do it right and you know, we treat them as family right when they get in the door, you know, then we'll have a ton of success continued moving forward.
We've talked about the young guys, but I want to talk about the way they've matured, because you said a few weeks ago that you felt like, yeah, you have freshmen, but they don't act like freshmen. How have you seen them progress just in the day in and day out activities that you've seen this year?
Yeah, and we've actually stopped referring to ourselves as a first-year program inside of our locker room. You know, we think that gives us some excuses to fall back on if we need it, and at this point we don't need those excuses. You know, we're a full functioning, you know, college lacrosse team that's competing with some of the best in the area. You know, so we've kind of gotten away from that, and you can see the maturity level because you know, we go into practice, and where at the beginning of the year we would be like, okay, we're going to run this for this game, and we're going to do this defense for this game, and then we'd have to spend like an hour of film, an hour of chalk work, and then 2 hours of practice, like walking through and really making sure guys understood it and you know, went through the whole thing. And now we can go in, we watch, you know, 40 minutes of film, tell them what we're going to see, tell them what we're going to do, get out in the practice, you know, walk through it in an hour and a half, and it just clicks now. And that's, you know, guys are starting to bring stuff to our attention, like, hey, well, what if we do this in this situation? Do you think that'll work? And, you know, that's the maturity, that's the thought process. You know, we call that lacrosse IQ in our game, and that's a big part of, you know, good talented teams, is we want these guys to start breaking it down for themselves and, you know, using their brain as they play.
Now, starting 9-1, you did have a patch of adversity that struck with the conference play. Were you guys ready for those competitions? Because you were competitive in those games as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We're almost looking forward to that kind of competition,
yeah.
You know, to really see where we were, where we stacked up, and what's the most important games is your conference games. You know, you learn a lot. You learn more from losses sometimes than you do from wins. And you know, after every single game, you know, we know we competed, we know we made the other team sweat and work, and that's really in year one what we're trying to accomplish. That way, when we play those guys next year, you know, they're coming in and not thinking they're going to walk all over us, and they really have to come out and compete, and that's a good spot to be in for us.
Against Carroll, we had an opportunity to watch that, and I mean, obviously the goal is to find that game because you had quite a few of them, but the physical play surprised me because you guys got after it, especially in the defensive end. You guys have a physical brand of lacrosse, don't you?
Absolutely. You know, a big thing for us, both on offense and defense, is we want to dictate the pace of the game. You know, we want to play our brand of lacrosse and not allow another team to come in and tell us how we should be playing.
Yeah.
So absolutely, you know, on offense, because of our numbers, we like to slow things down, take the air out of the ball, give our defense a little break. You know, and on defense, we want to do the exact opposite. We want to push their offense to go fast so that we can get the ball on offense and slow it back down again. So that's definitely, you know, it's definitely intentional for us to get out after the guys defensively and then, like, on the other side, slow it down.
More fun things to watch. It's time for Check the Tape.
This Cardinal Report segment is sponsored by M&M Rentals.
First play, here is Noah Carroll, and this is against Augustana, and a great solo play here, but it's the way the defense kind of shades him. I want to get your perspective on this because obviously they're guarding him to one side, and he still beats it. Yeah,
so we actually call this an invert offense, is when we take one of our short sticks against one of their short sticks behind the goal, which is a place that defender is not used to playing. Short sticks are used to playing above the goal. And then if you look, number 19 on the crease isn't really watching him, so Noah gets a chance to redodge, and when he beats his guy, there's no slide coming to him, so he gets a free look at the goal.
Here's the second play, and this is well designed. You guys you play it from back and somebody cutting right down the middle and an easy goal.
Yeah, you know, Danny had great awareness. The defense prior to was a little jumbled up, and Danny pushed hard to the goal, so they actually had two guys slide to him, and he was able to recognize that, and Tommy also saw that his guy was flying to the ball, so he cut right behind him in that space, and Danny was able to have his head up and see both of those things happening.
And how about this? This is a goal, Stephen Foe, and I mean, you can't get much more acrobatic than this.
Yeah, this is late in the game, and we needed a little bit of life. You know, we're struggling, you know, scoring goals, and, you know, Steven, he actually, I think he cleared the ball from all the way down on our end, ran it all the way down the field, you know, and just was determined and saw an opportunity where he knew, once again, there was a no-slide guy coming. Saw his defenseman was playing a little lackadaisical, and he sold out for it, for sure.
Well, Coach, congratulations on this year. Terrific season, and it's been fun having you on.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
Appreciate
for stopping by. Coming up next, a couple of lacrosse players join me on set. We'll be right back. Tommy Huizinga and Jared Weaver are here on set. Welcome, guys. The lacrosse season is almost at the end, and we were just saying off the mic, it's gone by fast, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's gone by really fast. Feels like we should just be getting ready for the spring break trip, honestly, from my opinion.
Yeah, it flew by, honestly. From the start of the season to now, it feels like it's been a month.
Now, I mean, you guys come in, and you're first-year students, you're first-year athletes. This is a first-year program, a lot of firsts, and we'll go to Tommy for this one. What were your expectations? What did you come in thinking this was going to be like?
Coming into it, definitely didn't think we were going to be at the spot we are now. I was excited for the season, excited to play with new kids. I grew up playing with the same kids all my lacrosse career, so coming in and trying a new dynamic, new culture was exciting, but the biggest thing for me was definitely being able to try like the college lacrosse, being able to go out there and see what's new.
Yeah. Speed of the game, is it different than what you were used to?
The speed, yeah, definitely is a little bit faster pace. I'd say technically just the plays and how people play defense on you compared to in high school, a little bit more structured than like free-for-all in high school.
Similar sentiments?
Very similar. A lot faster than from some of the competition I saw in high school. Everyone's a lot bigger, stronger.
Yeah.
Especially like us, we got a team full of freshmen, and then we're playing teams like Carthage that you hear the starting lineups as senior.
Yeah.
So it's a little intimidating at times, but I mean, it's just everyone's faster, stronger, and it just encourages you to do the exact same. So
talent-wise, we've had a couple of opportunities to see you guys at home, and it just does not seem like you guys have any lack of talent on the field, especially against an Augustana. You guys were right with them. Do you feel that same way?
Yeah, I feel like defensively, especially, we are very solid. I feel like there's never a game that we've lacked the entire game. Defensively, there's been moments where we've fallen off, but we always get right back into it.
Yeah.
Offensively is a little bit tougher, trying to get used to everybody's playing style and how people move and like where you should move compared to them. But overall, I feel like we're doing pretty good, and I feel like next year we'll be even better.
You face Augustana, Carthage. You're going to face Illinois Wesleyan to end the year. These are tough teams, and you guys have already mentioned that they have experience that you guys just don't have. But was it nice to know that when you guys took the field against them, you played competitively, that you had a chance to win those games, even though they had that huge edge on you?
Absolutely. I think it was kind of a deep breath of relief for everybody, especially first like really tough game in Carthage, seeing we're right there with them, making them work, and they were really nervous. You could tell by the way they were playing. So that was like a really good feeling for all of us. Yeah, I think it's encouraging to see that we're keeping up in just the first year with a bunch of freshmen, and it's even more exciting to see the future too. So
let's go from the on-field product to something completely off the field. It's time for the quick hits. 3 questions. You guys don't even know the questions. Frankly, I don't know the questions either at this point. So we'll go along the way. Let's go with the first one. Your favorite meal at the Cage? Actually, let's check that at Kaufman.
Kaufman.
Oh, okay. I'd honestly just have to say classic burger.
Yeah.
Love having 2 cheeseburgers, and if they have the curly fries, it's going to be a good day. So.
I'd probably go with the actually the pot stickers.
Pot stickers?
Yeah, surprisingly, those are really, really good.
I've never heard that. I think I've asked that question 3 times. That's interesting.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of like hibachi and stuff like that, so the pot stickers, those were good.
That's awesome. Let's go with your favorite Gen Ed class this year.
Gen Ed.
Oh, wow.
I'd honestly say communication speech class.
All right. What about it?
I mean, going in, it was way out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
I like to talk, but not in front of people. So, and I felt like I learned a lot from it, and the teacher was a blast, and we had it together. So
nice, nice.
I haven't taken too many Gen Eds, but it'd probably be communications or one of the history classes I took. But I probably, if it was between the two, it'd probably be more towards communications. Just the fact that we got up there and kind of was pretty laid back, kind of do our own thing up behind the podium, and our teacher was pretty fun, so she made a good time.
Third question: you're stuck on an island, and you have one food that you can eat at your time there. What is that piece of food? That's a tough one.
Oh my goodness.
It's a lot of options, and you can only have one.
I'm gonna probably bring some Portillo's chili dogs with me, just a big bag of them. And those are my favorite food. I probably go like 3 times a week, and all my friends know that. So I'll probably just bring my Portillo's.
You're lucky you live in Chicago, by the way. That's, I mean, they're not everywhere.
No. Yeah, we're definitely lucky.
Yeah, we go to Portillo's a lot, at least 3 times a week. But personally, I'd probably just bring pizza.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with a nice large pizza.
And I didn't say you can't change the toppings.
Yeah, exactly. So
there you go.
Change it up every week.
Well, guys, nice job on the season, and thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. We're taking a break. The Cardinal Corner is right around the corner. We'll be right back on the Cardinal Report.
This Cardinal Report segment is presented by Belgio's Catering.
Welcome into this week's Cardinal Corner. Kevin Jackman, Nick Sotiros, last season an All-American, this season a preseason All-American, and he's going to give us some of his hitting tips. How have you progressed over the last 4 years as a hitter in the mental aspect of the game?
I think just getting some experience. Sophomore year I got 15 at-bats, and I really didn't have a great feel at the plate. I lacked a lot of confidence. I worked hard in the off-season between sophomore and junior year to just trust myself, trust my abilities, and it paid off. Going from last year to this year, one of the things I really tried to focus on was my pitch selection. Especially being a preseason All-American, you're going to get pitched a lot differently than last year. So it's just been a big focus of mine to find pitches that I want to hit instead of pitchers' pitches.
Now, one thing I noticed is your front foot. You're very quiet with your lead foot. Is that something that you've kind of developed over the years, or have you always been that way?
That's kind of always how I've was taught to swing. One of my philosophies that I was taught growing up is just try and be simple. The less things moving, the less things can go wrong. So I just try and be quiet with my front foot, stay back, and not have any extra movements. We talk about a lot trying to get backspin on the ball, trying hard line drives with backspin so you can get some elevation, but our big thing is trying to hit the ball on the ground hard and line drives still.
That was this week's Cardinal Corner. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
The studio is the foundation of our station.
3, 2, 1, and cue her.
Welcome back to Spotlight.
It anchors news and sports.
We have all new highlights to bring to you
and gives voice to many different organizations. As we celebrate 30 years, we are embarking on our first capital campaign to raise $30,000 to complete the purchase of new HD studio cameras, securing our foundation for the future.
I'm welcomed by Sports Information Director Clark Teuscher, and it's been a while, been since the Red Zone.
It has.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's been a busy season. Things are, I wouldn't say winding down, but they're coming to the end. And a lot of sports are in that kind of gray area, whether or not they're going to make the postseason. I want to talk about men's lacrosse, though, because inaugural season, a lot of work had to be done just to get to this point. And now 10 wins at the minimum to show for it. It's got to be extremely exciting to see that success.
Well, yeah, and it certainly helps. You're trying to, parlay that into, continuing to build. Mm-hmm. You don't want this to be the high point here in the first year. So they still need to work hard on recruiting and doing those kinds of things to continue to build the program. So it's certainly, when you add sports like we've been adding them lately, you want to make sure you do everything you can to make sure they're competitive right away. Because the reason you're doing it is because you want to create an experience for the students. So they've been successful in doing that. I think we have one player on the team who had played collegiately before. We had a transfer, Tanner James from Beloit College, but for a team primarily of 18, 19-year-olds competing against much more veteran squads. You really can't ask for more in terms of a competitive response than what we saw this year.
And even their losses were all competitive losses to really good, experienced teams. That's really cool. In your time at North Central, have you seen a startup program succeed like this so quickly off the bat?
At this level, the only one that would really be comparable would be women's triathlon. And that's definitely a different animal in the fact that there's very few schools that even have it right now.
Yeah.
So the sport in itself is very much in its infancy. But other than that, you really don't have anything to compare it to in terms of just coming right out of the gate and having well-defined roles for players that played well together. Really solid defensively, which was very important. They're ranked very highly nationally in some defensive statistical categories. So I don't know that we have anything to compare to that.
Good year for first-year programs, isn't it? I want to talk about women's lacrosse as well, because they're moving towards the postseason, and they won last night. And this is a team that they've been in the tournament for a few years. They haven't quite challenged for the crown yet, but they want to take that next step. Do they feel like they can?
There was some concern this was going to be kind of an in-between year for them. They graduated a very accomplished senior class, and I think they've rearranged everybody's roles pretty well. That took a little bit of time. I think they're probably playing at their best now, which is what you want to be doing. They've got a very tough game this weekend against Carthage before they get into conference tournament play, but I think they feel pretty confident about their ability to compete with the teams that are going to be in the field next weekend.
to baseball, where Ed Matthew has a group, and it is a high-powered offense on the diamond for them. I mean, they mash the baseball, and right now they're just behind first place in the conference on a bit of a slide, but this is a team that I'm sure that you guys see as a dark horse in the CCIW, and maybe even the national tournament if they can get there. Yeah, well, as many games as they play, you're going to have those peaks and valleys. You're playing a lot of games in a short amount of time, and that really puts a strain on the pitching staff. And that's kind of, we knew that was going to be the case with 3 more conference games with the addition of Carroll to the conference lineup this year. You're playing 24 conference games, so your pitching is really going to be put to the test. So I think that's part of what we've seen in that recent slide. They've struggled a little bit because there are a lot of other teams in our conference that can hit the ball. So, if they've got 2 weeks yet they've got a lot of conference games in those 2 weeks. So certainly the opportunity is there to right the ship and finish on top. But there's very little time to kind of get that in shape before you have to go out and play again. No rest for the wicked. Softball is also in a position where just a week, maybe 2 weeks ago, it looked kind of hazy if they were going to be able to make it. They've won some games. They've put themselves in position. Now they just have to take care of business at the end of the year. Yeah, the way the schedule worked out, they kind of played all the top teams early in the conference schedule. So that's one of the reasons why the record looked like that, although they did come away with a sweep at Illinois Wesleyan, which is going to end up maybe pushing them into a higher seed in the tournament because they've got a tiebreaker there against a likely tournament qualifier. So, they've certainly last couple of weeks won the games that they needed to win. They've got a couple of more series this weekend before the postseason starts, but definitely looking very favorable heading into that. Especially softball, but in sports in general, once you're in, anything can happen. Yeah, it really is. The baseball and softball tournaments in particular, the seeding kind of goes out the window because you're also playing double elimination, so there's a lot of different variables there, and the number 1 seed doesn't often come through that unscathed. So, it really is just about getting in and just making sure you're healthy when you do that. I want to bounce to the tennis courts because the women's tennis team is all but wrapped up at this point. They're kind of going to the end of the season, but a senior class that is extremely distinguishable. 3 players in particular, Kelsey Fork and Claire O'Connor and Katie Drone, I mean, they made an impact in their 4 years here. Yeah, I think their total between singles and doubles victories, it was somewhere in the neighborhood of, 200 and some. Wow. For the 3 of them. Kelsey is the school's all-time leader in wins at different. They have 2 different records for that, for wins at number 1 and then wins at multiple positions. So she's the record holder overall at multiple positions, which you have to play a lot, so you have to stay healthy and stay in the lineup, but you also have to win a lot against a lot of tough competition. It's a very tough tennis conference, the CCIW. So definitely a lot to replace there. So Coach Pond certainly has her work cut out for trying to find some other folks that are going to kind of take that mantle and be that next group to come through to accomplish the way they have. And then the men's team, they started the spring off extremely hot. They've carried that play, and now they're about to hit the conference tournament, and they're playing just about as well as they've ever played, I think, right now. They really have a young group that they've kind of brought along together, and I think we're seeing a little more cohesive play in the doubles. Definitely guys who have developed some confidence as singles players. The matches last year that maybe wound up blowouts. In terms of the losses that they had, those have been much more competitive matches this year. Yeah. So definitely they're making progress. We'll see how much progress, see how much that translates into tournament success. It's a different format than the rest of the season. So definitely a challenge, but I think they're looking forward to it. I know we're still a ways off from outdoor nationals, about a month at this point. But it looks like the women's team is going to be contending for maybe a few individuals going out there, and then the men's team, of course, is looking for that trifecta. So, I mean, what's the feeling around those track and field teams? Well, the men's team is heading to the Drake Relays this weekend, which is a big meet nationally across the board in track and field. And they've got about 17 athletes that are going to compete in that, which is always a great spectacle of an event, regardless of the sport. And guys like Luke Winder and Zach Plank and the 4x400 meter relay that did very well at nationals last year. Are going to be in the mix for some accolades there. We were just a little over a week away from the Outdoor Conference Championships.
Certainly the men, after winning the indoors, looking to reclaim the outdoor title after they had some misfortune at the end of the meet that cost them the championship last year. On the women's side, certainly Kayla Etherton, probably the headlining performer there, the one member of the team that was at nationals last year in the hammer throw, school record holder in that event. Some other folks looking to kind of join her on that trip. We'll have to see how that goes. They're kind of on the outside looking in right now, but definitely within the conference and then the two last chance meets at home, some opportunities to kind of get on the bus and head out to Ohio in May.
Kayla is so impressive just to be able to see how much she's improved. Just, I mean, even from meet to meet, it's been crazy to watch. And then the men's team, I saw this note, they've done it once. They've won cross country, indoor, and outdoor in the single season. Is that at all part of the conversation right now? Are they even talking about that?
Well, they've talked about it. They've talked about it. And they really thought going into indoor that was going to be a tough one to get, just in terms of the numbers that they had at the meet. And they've always felt that they were built a little better for outdoors than indoors. So once they got that one, that was the next part of the conversation. When you talk to those guys, they're just off of the awards podium. They're like, well, we got one more to get. So they are cognizant of that. They're very much respectful of the fact that there are other very good teams that they're going to be competing against, but that's certainly been the goal for quite some time. It certainly got ramped up once they wound up winning indoor.
That was crazy, by the way, the fact that they won. Two sports that are not in season. I want to wrap this up with those two. Bowling is going to be in its inaugural season next year. Where is that program in its stages of infancy?
They're pretty close to having the inaugural team put together. The rules really don't allow us to publicize any of that just yet. They've got a home facility. They're going to be playing out at Lyle Lanes. For practice at least, we haven't figured out whether they're going to try and host a competition yet. That's certainly a possibility. But I think in terms of next year's team, we're pretty close to having an idea of who's going to be competing. I'm still working on a schedule that's going to start probably in November and run through the winter. So things are moving along, and we're just going to have to kind of wait and see in the fall, once everybody comes in, how that lineup's going to shake out.
As long as you have the team, everything else will fall in place.
You need that.
Last but not least, football. It's spring football time. I'm sure the coaches are looking forward and appreciating the fact that they have structured practices again.
Yeah, you like to be able to have control over, certain things and, the development, and you're really working on making sure that you have the groups of players that are going to be on the field together, doing, even if it's not, the full pads and everything like that, you're getting kind of the mental reps for where people are going to be on the field and how everybody's going to work together. So it's really about getting those groups of players that are probably going to be playing at the same time, time together on the field and just kind of get everybody gelled together. And, there's a lot of, there's going to be some new people in the lineups, new people in positions they haven't been in before. So, the spring is really the best time that they have to iron that out before they get to the summer.
Well, I appreciate you stopping by. Always a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming up, the play of the game. We'll be right back on the Cardinal Report. It's time for this week's Play of the Game, and we head out to Benedetti Worley Stadium for the men's lacrosse game between NCC and Augustana. With the Cardinals trailing 8-3 late in the fourth, Stephen Foe looks to put the team on his back and rally the troops. The impressive effort comes despite contact from behind, Foe drawing the flag, nailing the goal, and scoring the Cardinal Report's Play of the Game. That's all the time we have. For highlights in individual segments, head to our website, nctv17.com. Until next time, I'm Kevin Jackman. Thanks for tuning in to the Cardinal Report.